to go for round one of the NAB Challenge, Brad?
I think we're all looking forward to it, not just the players. I think all the coaches and the supporters and staff are looking forward to a competitive hit out against genuine opposition. So it'll be great for the fans in Wangaratta, and it's always an exciting time of year, not just because we're starting to play again, but because we get to bring the game or the game at the elite level to people who don't get to see it very often.
Any new faces you can let us know about already, or?
Yeah, well, Jed Anderson will play his first game in North Melbourne colours. And we haven't quite finalised things yet, but Ryan Clark's been terrific in our training so far, and the same with young Wagner. So there's a few young guys who might face up, but we've got some really good availability at the moment. So while we'd like to expose some young guys to some game time, our priority is to work on our system and the way we want to play. So we've got to strike that balance between exposing the young guys and getting the more senior guys playing together.
About Daniel Wells, will he ever run around this way?
At this stage he will. Yeah, we're expecting him to play, and he's in good shape and he's really keen to get out there and play. So I think that's exciting for us.
How impressed have you been with Jed? I mean, he seems like he's got a hell of a lot of untapped potential.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. He's come out of a terrific system at Hawthorn and probably only been kept out of the side by a couple of All-Australians at half forward and through the midfield. So he's going to get a good opportunity with us, and he's fit in really well both on and off field. His teammates speak really highly of him, so I think that's always a pretty good litmus test.
Robbie Tarrant missed last week's intra-club game. Understand a back injury. How is that a minor concern, or is it a bit more serious than that?
No, we expect him to play this week. He just got a knee in the back of training, so we erred on the side of caution there in not playing him, but he'll train fully today, and we expect him to play this weekend.
How surprised would you be at any stage during the season to see Nathan Grimer wearing opposition colours, given how he left the club?
Oh, look, I'd be delighted to see him playing football again. I think that I was as surprised as anyone, because our conversations on the back end of 2015 were primarily around his health and well-being into the future and for the rest of his life. Football wasn't a priority at the end of last year. It was about getting him back to a good quality of life and being able to do everyday things like, eventually when he has kids, and being able to pick them up, and that was our focus. So he's clearly made a really good recovery, and he feels in a position now where he can get out and play again at the highest level. So that's terrific for him. But my concern still is for his health and well-being, but fingers crossed he gets through and plays some good footy.
Have you spoken to him since he made the call to get back into football?
Yeah, he touched base with a few people here at the club, and I was one of those, and we had a very lengthy chat about it and discussed all the pros and cons, and he's done that with his family and closest friends and come to a decision that he's really comfortable with. So at the end of the day, all we can do is advise, but he's the only one who can make that decision for himself. So he's been medically cleared, and good on him. He's a genuine competitor, and like a lot of professional sportsmen, it's very difficult to finish up when you're feeling good in yourself. So he's going to have another opportunity, and I wish him all the best.
So after the chat, you felt pretty convinced that he's going to be right to go?
Well, it's very difficult because I'm not in the medical profession, so I can't make a judgment as to how he is. But you can trust the experts, and his surgeon's given him a clean bill of health, and Nathan himself feels in really good shape. So you can only back the experts in there. So all my advice was to make sure that he's doing the right thing for himself, not just for the short term, but for the long term as well.
A couple of the other guys who missed last week's game, Brad, Sean Higgins, Ben Jacobs, are they likely to return soon?
Oh, we think Higgins will play this week, and it's trying to strike the balance a little bit too. We've probably got some guys who, Swallow, Zeeble, Higgins, Jacobs, who we've got to try and balance their amount of game time throughout the NAB Challenge, while also trying to expose some of our younger midfielders. So we're really confident all of those guys will play throughout the NAB Challenge. It's just striking the balance as to which particular week they play.
The variable ticket pricing announced today, Brad, do you think that presents a challenge for clubs to sell that to their members?
Oh, look, I'm not really well versed on the intricacies of the program, but what I can say is that I'm fortunate enough to travel around the world and visit some elite sporting organisations both in Europe and the US, and I just came from the Boston Bruins, in the off season, and their general manager was telling me that they play 82 games a year and 42 or 41 home games, and they've sold out every home game since 2009. So it really reminds you that we have better access to games and to tickets than any other sport in the world, certainly at this level. So I think that that's the first thing we should acknowledge. And my understanding is that if the fans are well organised and they book their tickets early, they may even get tickets cheaper. So I think until all the detail comes out, I think we've got to reserve our judgment and not rush to any conclusions.
Are you happy with the current format of the NAB Challenge? Do you reckon it needs to be tinkered in any way for future years or anything like that?
No, I think the format works really well at the moment. We've got a lot of flexibility with 8 on the bench, and I think the 3 games is the right number for us. And if you want to play more, you can always play more intra-club games. So I think it works really well, and it's an exciting time to be able to take the game to places of Australia that don't get to see this quality of football very often.
So from a coaching perspective, Brett, what constitutes a successful NAB Challenge for you?
Players getting through unscathed is probably number one. And I think it's probably getting, seeing what we've trained all through the pre-season, seeing some of that come to fruition. Because when you play intra-club games, when you're happy with something, very quickly you're not happy with it. Because if you're attacking well, you're not defending well. So when you're playing against each other, it's very difficult to work out if you're going okay.
But do you want to be surprised by some players, some people that give you something that you perhaps didn't see?
Oh, there's always that chance, and that's why it's such a great opportunity to play 8 on the interchange, because we get to see some guys in different positions and not make too many hasty conclusions as to the capabilities of some players. Some players are just desperate for an opportunity to show you what they can do, and the NAB Challenge provides that.
Just from a personal opinion, would you like to see any rule changes in the NAB Challenge trial in future years? Anything you'd say, oh no, that could be fixed or that could be at least trialled?
I think they're doing that right now. All the things that I think are valid questions in the game, questions around congestion, questions around making sure the game is high scoring and that the game tends to favour free-flowing and attacking football over dour defensive footy. I think that Mark Evans and the AFL are looking at some of those changes in the NAB Challenge, and I think it'll be interesting to see how that comes out, because I think all the fans want to see free-flowing footy.
Would you be a supporter of zones being trialled?
No, I'm a bit of a traditionalist, I suppose. So I'd like to see the game evolve naturally without such a radical change. But if we can tinker with some things around manning the mark and some things to encourage free-flowing footy, I think the zones will become less relevant.